Welcome to the Fit Woman Formula podcast, where we show women just like you how to reclaim your energy, rebuild your body, and step into you 2.0. I'm Coach Jonathan, founder and head coach of the Fit Woman Formula coaching program. This show is for women who are tired of starting over and ready to finally create results that last. Not just weight loss, but real confidence, a healthier relationship with food, a stronger mindset, and a lifestyle that finally lasts. You can watch full episodes on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you enjoy podcasts. And if you're ready to learn more about how we can help you unlock the energy and confidence of your 20s while dropping 2+ sizes in the next 12 weeks, visit fitwomanformula.com. All right, let's get into today's episode. Let's talk about why chasing weight loss doesn't work. I know how this sounds. This is the part that most people don't understand. This isn't a discipline issue. It's an energy issue. Because when you're constantly chasing weight loss, you're constantly restricting. And whether you see this over time, if you continue to restrict over and over, this is what drains you. So physically, you're underfueled. Mentally, you're always thinking about what you can't have. Emotionally, again, you're frustrated because it's not working the way that you expected. I had so many expectations about the way that this should work, and it turned out very, very different. So when your energy is low, I know this seems very obvious, but I want you to really listen closely to what I'm saying, ladies. When your energy is low, everything becomes harder. I mean, let's think about this. When you have low energy, you don't have the patience to make good decisions, right? Maybe with your food. You don't have the motivation to move your body. You don't have the capacity or what I would call the bandwidth to stay consistent. And that is when things start to fall apart. So what does this look like for most women? Well, I'm going to tell you what I see all the time with the ladies that we work with. A lot of them barely eat during the day. Many of them skip at least breakfast or lunch, sometimes both. Sometimes they're just having one meal a day. Now you would think, well, that must be good for weight loss. Well, but they're not losing weight. Maybe they have a coffee in the morning, something small for lunch, right? I mean, think about it. Are you ever just too busy? You're running around and you're like, oh, no, I don't have time for lunch. And then by the evening, they're starving. They're exhausted, mentally drained from the day. And many times, that's when the overeating happens. Let's think about what comes after that. Guilt, frustration. I know I'm not alone in having experienced this before. I need to do better tomorrow. Okay, this is the last time. Let me get all this food in. I'll start over Monday, and then the cycle starts all over again. Now, I want to share an example with you, okay? Because this is reminding me a lot of many of the ladies that we've worked with. I'll tell you the one that's coming to mind in particular right now, and that's my client, Crystal. Now, Crystal and I have worked together for a while now. A couple years back, when we first worked together, she did an amazing job, okay? She lost over 30 pounds, completely transformed her body, and then guess what? She got pregnant again. Amazing. Like a lot of women, she found herself trying to figure it all out again. Now, luckily, this is something that's not new for us. You know, we have an actual process and system in place. This isn't you come in and, oh my gosh, you got lucky. You transform your body. Thank goodness. No, this is a repeatable process. And this is where things get interesting because before we started working together, she had tried literally everything. A lot of low-carb diets, the program that she was on just prior to us working together, Optavia, many pronunciations for this unfortunate program, okay? This is just awful stuff. Please, ladies, stay away from this, okay? This is the epitome of what you want to stay away from. What is Optavia, by the way? This is where you're expected to, most of the time, okay? And it's hard to believe that there are coaches, quote unquote, that guide you towards this. But basically, you're eating what they call fuelings, okay? And a lot of the times, these are like protein bars and shakes, and you're eating box stuff all the time, okay? Many times you're eating, like Crystal was, under 1,000 calories a day, so low most of the time that they typically recommend that you don't work out. How does this sound sustainable at all? She had been told crazy things by her coach, like you can't eat carrots. Carrots are too high in sugar. It's just nuts. This is what happens. I know she's not alone. There's no judgment around this because I know so many of you have experienced this. Now, on top of that, I think this is a really important note here. She also has Hashimoto's, okay? Hashimoto's is a thyroid condition. A lot of women that we work with have thyroid issues or hormone imbalances or other health issues, autoimmune diseases, mobility issues, all kinds of different stuff. So naturally, just like these other ladies that are thinking, well, this health issue is the reason why, right? The reason why I can't lose weight. She was thinking this is going to make things harder. This is going to make things more complicated. This is why I can't lose weight. This is just me. This is just the way that things are. But instead of doubling down on restriction, we did something that felt completely backwards to her. This required a lot of trust. This required her really trusting Me and our program and the process, we focused on her energy first. We had her fuel her body better, not stuffing herself, not forcing anything extreme. This is what we call a priming phase, just eating a little bit more, eating smarter, okay, strategically, fueling smarter. Now, again, she was really nervous about this because in her mind, and maybe in your mind, eating more automatically means gaining weight. But like so many of the ladies we work with, the opposite happened. Her energy started to come back. She felt better, right? She wasn't dragging through the day. She wasn't constantly thinking about food. And once that shifted, guess what happened? The weight started coming off. The inches started dropping. Her body started responding again. And she was a little surprised. But this is exactly how it's supposed to work. The biggest challenge for the ladies that we work with is along the lines of what I just described. It's not any crazy diet stuff. It's not crazy workouts or anything like that. It's trying to wrap their brain around, okay, this feels almost too easy. How the hell can this be getting me results? Seriously. And look, I get it, right? Because just like I was, I think we've all been trained. I think that's the best word. We've all been trained to believe that if this doesn't make you feel shitty, and if it doesn't make your life suck, and it doesn't make you miserable and take away everything you enjoy, how is it going to work? That's not what weight loss feels like. So there's always this lingering question, how can this possibly be working? So for us, working on mindset is really important. But this is the cycle that keeps you stuck. So this is what it is. Start strong. I'll say start extreme too most of the time. Start extreme and with like way too many habits and way too much crap you're focused on all at once. Is typically what it is. Be strict, get tired, because energy isn't first. Not even a priority typically. You're too focused on weight loss. Feel guilty, start over. Be strict, get tired, slip up, feel guilty, start over. That's the cycle. And every time that you repeat this cycle, you need to understand you trust yourself less. You get more frustrated, and it feels harder to start again. This is what keeps happening. So that's why so many women feel like they've been starting over for years, because they have. You have. I know there's so many that are watching this right now and listening to this, and they're like, oh my God, someone else gets it. Yes. And how do I know this? Because yes, I've experienced this in large part myself, but because again, we're hearing it every single day. Women stuck in the same cycle. So instead of asking, how do I lose weight faster? Probably the question you're thinking about. The better question is, how do I feel better first? Now, this is where something that we teach called energy maintenance comes in. Energy maintenance is the foundation of everything that we do. And it's a really simple concept. And again, it requires some trust because it sounds so different. Sometimes it sounds, again, too simple or too easy to really mean anything. But this is the deal. If you feel better, everything else becomes easier. Now think about it. When your energy is higher, you think more clearly, you make better decisions, you have more patience, you're more consistent. And what have you probably caught yourself saying? I struggle to be consistent. And what do we know about consistency? Consistency drives results. So ladies, as odd as it sounds, for us, the goal isn't to focus on weight loss first. It's not. We do a really good job of helping ladies to achieve that and to transform their bodies, but that's not the focus. The goal is to put your energy first. Because I just said it, when you feel good, weight loss becomes a byproduct. It's not just something that you're constantly trying to force. Now, this doesn't mean that you ignore weight loss, right? It means that you build the foundation that makes it possible. What does this look like? Well, it looks like probably eating enough during the day instead of trying to save calories. I mean, so many ladies that I talk to, and this is something that we work on a lot. Again, they're skipping meals earlier in the day, absolutely starving by the time they get to dinner. And then they have dinner, and a lot of the times there's a second dinner afterwards because they're still so hungry. They're genuinely hungry, right? Maybe you've experienced that. Very common. Prioritizing sleep because being exhausted makes everything harder. Moving your body in a way that gives you energy, not just burns you out. Okay, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about just, endless cardio, endless hit sessions, endless circuit classes, boot camps. Feels like you've done something, burning you out. And maybe you get some results at first and then you're just leaving like exhausted and your energy's, sucks and you're not getting the results. Now, I would say a big one is letting go of perfection and instead focusing on consistency. Now, how does this connect to what we do? This is exactly why inside the Fit Woman formula, we don't start with restriction. This is one of the main things that sets us apart from everything else out there. I want you to think for a moment, as you're listening to this. Think about all the things you've tried. Keto, low carb, paleo, Mediterranean diet, vegetarian, vegan, maybe things like I mentioned earlier, Optavia, Herbalife, Beachbody, okay, all these different things. What do they have in common? They start with restriction. what do? We start by adding things in. We don't throw you into something extreme. We don't expect you to overhaul your life overnight. We start with energy maintenance because that's the foundation. That's what everything else is built on. Once your energy is in a better place, now nutrition becomes easier. Workouts feel better, right? You're training better. You're training harder. You're lifting heavier. You're planning better, which means what? Well, which means that consistency actually sticks. So many ladies say to me that once they lose the weight, they'll have more energy and they'll feel better. I think we need to flip it. Very basic concept, but I think it's important because let's just think about this simple thought here. If I feel like crap all the time, what is the motivation? Am I all of a sudden at the end of this just going to feel good because I've dropped a few pounds? That doesn't make any sense at all. This is why women start seeing real results without feeling like they're fighting themselves all the time. I don't say on the forefront in our content and stuff like that, we don't say that it's easy because I think that just sounds like bullshit right off the bat. But let me share this with you. That is one of the primary goals for the women that we work with. And here's exactly what it looks like is they'll have some big win, like dropping a size. One of our clients just got into a size 12 for the first time in 30 years. I said, man, that's amazing. You should be so proud of yourself. And I asked her, when is the last time this happened? About 30 years ago. That's amazing. Incredible. Let me ask you a question. What we're working on right now on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very easy, 5 being very complicated or difficult, where would you rate what we're doing? A 1. Easy. Alarm bells are going off if we get over a 2. That means there's something else we need to look at. Generally, we're a 2 or below. And that's exactly where we want these ladies. And again, that is the biggest challenge. How can it be this simple? How can it be this simple? I've been led to believe that it needs to be hard, that it needs to be difficult. Don't get me wrong, you have to put in work, but the work that you're putting in right now is likely focused on the wrong things. So if you've been stuck in this cycle of starting over, trying harder, still not getting the results you want, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You're not broken. You are not lazy. Let me repeat that. You're not lazy. I've had this conversation several times, and this is something that comes up frequently. I need to pause here for just a moment and step up on my podium here for a second. Stop saying this shit to yourself, ladies. I guarantee you are not lazy. I'll have clients say to me, I'm lazy. Stop. That has no place here. Literally just had this conversation today. That has no place here in this space. I can't allow you to say things like that about yourself. And we have to make an agreement that that is not going to come into our communication. I want to know how you're doing. I want to know where you're at, but you're not going to say things like that about yourself. And you need to know that you're not the problem. You've just been focused on the wrong thing. And once you start to shift that, everything starts to change. And that wraps up today's episode of the Fit Woman Formula podcast. I hope today's conversation helped you take one more step toward reclaiming your energy, rebuilding your body, and stepping into you 2.0. If you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future episodes. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I'd really appreciate it if you left a quick rating or review. It helps more women discover the show. Ready to unlock the energy and confidence of your 20s while dropping 2+ sizes in the next 12 weeks without restricted diets, useless supplements, or living in the gym? Visit fitwomanformula.com to learn how we've helped hundreds of women just like you. I'll see you in the next episode.